Kusarigama. The design combines a traditional farming sickle with a weighted metal chain, creating a weapon that works at both long and short ranges. A warrior would typically whirl the weighted end to entangle an opponent's sword or limbs before stepping in to use the blade. It was a difficult tool to master, but in the hands of an expert, it could overcome much larger weapons. Tessan. To the untrained eye, this looked like a standard folding fan carried by high-ranking officials and samurai. However, the inner ribs were forged from solid iron, allowing it to be used as a club or even a small shield against projectiles. It was a discreet way to stay armed in places where long blades were prohibited, such as inside a lord's palace. Necote. These metal claws were designed to fit over the fingertips like thimbles, ending in sharp, curved points. They were specifically used for close-quarters surprise attacks, often by those who needed to remain inconspicuous until the final moment. By coating the tips in toxins, the user could ensure that a single quick scratch would be enough to incapacitate a target.
Sodarami. This long polearm was a specialized tool used by law enforcement during the Edo period to capture suspects alive. Its head was covered in rows of jagged, multi-directional barbs designed to snag the heavy fabric of a kimono. Once the teeth caught the cloth, the officer could twist the pole to wrap the sleeve around the head, effectively immobilizing the suspect. Kakute. This was a spiked ring usually worn with the points concealed inside the palm of the hand. It served as a hidden weapon that allowed the user to exert lethal pressure on a target's throat or pressure points during a grapple. Because it was so small and easy to hide, it was an ideal tool for discreet takedowns in crowded environments. Sasumata. This polearm features a large U-shaped fork that was used to pin a person's neck or torso against a hard surface. The design often included small spikes along the shaft to prevent a suspect from grabbing the weapon and turning it against the user. It remains one of the few ancient weapons that has a direct modern equivalent still utilized for crowd control today. Monriki Gusari. A simple weighted chain, this weapon could be folded and hidden inside a pocket or sash with ease. It lacked a blade, but the velocity of the swinging weights could easily break bone or knock a weapon out of an attacker's hand. Its versatility allowed it to be used for striking, entangling, or even as a tool for restraining prisoners. Techco kaggi. These heavy metal claws were worn over the knuckles, featuring 3 or 4 long spikes that extended forward. While they were effective for slashing, they were also sturdy enough to catch and trap an incoming sword blade. This allowed a fighter to disarm an opponent while maintaining the ability to counterattack immediately. Tsukubo. Shaped like a large T, this polearm was used by guards to keep people at a distance. The top crossbar and the upper section of the staff were studded with sharp metal points to ensure no one could safely push back against it. It acted as a mobile barrier, perfect for blocking doorways or managing aggressive groups without the need for lethal force. Canabo. This heavy wooden club was typically reinforced with iron plates and blunt metal studs to increase its crushing power. It was designed specifically to smash through the thick plate armor of high-ranking samurai or to break the legs of charging horses. Because of its immense weight, it required incredible physical strength to wield effectively, leading to its frequent association with legendary demons in Japanese folklore. Tonfa. Originally developed in Okinawa, this weapon consists of a wooden stick with a perpendicular handle positioned about a third of the way down its length. A skilled practitioner would hold the handle and rest the long end against the forearm, using it as a sturdy shield to block incoming strikes. By rotating the stick quickly around the handle, the user could deliver rapid, powerful blows that were much faster than traditional club strikes. Kama. These curved blades began as simple agricultural sickles used by farmers to harvest rice and other crops. When peasants were forbidden from carrying swords, they adapted these everyday tools for self-defense, often using them in pairs to trap an opponent's weapon. The inward curve of the blade allowed the user to hook an enemy's limbs or neck, making it a dangerous and unpredictable choice in close quarters combat. Chigariki. This weapon features a solid wooden or iron staff with a weighted chain attached to the top end. It functioned much like a flail, allowing the user to strike over an opponent's guard or wrap the chain around a sword to disarm them. The combination of a stable staff and a flexible swinging weight provided a unique tactical advantage that was difficult for traditional spear or sword users to counter. Kyoketsu Shogi. This specialized tool consists of a double-edged blade with a secondary hook attached to a long cord made of hair or leather that ends in a heavy metal ring. It was a versatile multi-tool used for climbing walls, tripping enemies, or ensnaring an opponent's blade with the hook. The metal ring at the end could be swung as a lethal projectile or used as a handle to spin the blade in a wide defensive circle. Gunbai. Often referred to as a war fan, this was a solid, non-folding device typically made of wood or iron and carried by military commanders. While its primary purpose was to signal troop movements and relay orders on the battlefield, its sturdy construction made it an effective shield against arrows and small projectiles. It served as both a symbol of authority and a practical defensive tool for leaders who were often targeted by enemy snipers. Fukia. This slender blowgun was usually crafted from a hollowed piece of bamboo and used to launch small, sharp darts over short distances. It was valued for its near-silent operation, allowing a user to strike from high rafters or thick brush without revealing their position. While the darts themselves were rarely lethal, they were frequently coated in fast-acting poisons to incapacitate a target quickly. Makibishi. These small, sharp spikes were designed to always land with one point facing upward, regardless of how they were thrown. They were scattered across paths or hallways during a retreat to slow down pursuers, as they could easily pierce the thin-soled footwear common in feudal Japan. Often made of iron or dried seed pods, they provided a simple but effective way to create a hazardous barrier in an instant. Metsubishi. This was a blinding powder, typically kept inside a hollowed eggshell or a small brass container. The mixture usually contained irritating substances like ground pepper, sand, or fine iron filings, which were thrown directly into an attacker's eyes to cause temporary blindness and pain. It was primarily a tool for evasion, giving the user just enough time to disappear or draw a weapon while their opponent was distracted and vulnerable.